Story 1. Hygiene, kindness, sense of humor, brains, consistency and follow-through, emotional intelligence. The thing about being single as you get older is that, contrary to popular belief, your standards don't lower, they actually get stricter. I've read so many Reddit threads about people dealing with partners who have skid marks, eat their nails, or are abusive and uncaring, and all I can think is that could never be me. Story 2. A personality of their own, passion, interests, hobbies, and goals. Stability emotionally, professionally, and financially. Addiction-free. A sense of adventure and a good attitude. I said what I said. I'm looking for someone who likes potatoes as much as I do, has big feet, is loyal, and appreciates simplicity and nature. Story 3. Mental fortitude. I cannot worry about my mental health as well as my partner's. Not saying we can't help each other in bad scenarios, but I cannot feel like I need to tailor my behavior for her mental safety. Story 4. Wants me rather than needs me and is okay with us not doing everything together. If we each do what we want without affecting the other, it will keep us happier together. Story 5. Hygiene, kindness, emotional intelligence, and someone who wants to put in effort into the relationship. Relationships are easy when you're both putting in the work to show up for each other. It's okay if you have off days, but consistent effort is good. Someone who doesn't refer to men as men and women as females in the same sentence. They never seem to view women as human beings. Story 6. A good sense of humor and mutual agreement on future goals and finances are important. Great physical intimacy is also essential. No matter how hard things get, and they will, you must keep pushing forward and growing as a couple. All things I wish I realized sooner. I wonder if two people can do these very simple tasks in the name of love. Single people, what are your must-haves for a significant other? Go big or go home. Marriage and relationships aren't for the weak. Be true and give it your absolute honest efforts. Story 7. A hobby. Loyalty. Not out to trauma dump on me every day. I allow my friends to do it once in a while, but every day overwhelms any sane human being. Allowing me to talk with people other than them regardless of gender. I'm talking not having a sexual relationship. Have some faith. Understanding a relationship is a two-way street and sometimes a road of compromise. Understanding that a compromise isn't one-sided. And lastly, what maybe bothers me most, trying to upset me because they think wanting to talk things out rather than argue and fight is not normal, and then admitting to my face they tried to upset me. If it sounds very specific, that's because it is. If it also sounds like being a considerate, normal human being, yes. Story 8. Sense of humor, a lot of empathy and self-awareness, and general hygiene. That's the bare minimum. I can't even remember how many times I've lost attraction to someone due to their lack of empathy. Quite a lot of people are caught up in their own worlds and don't really care how they impact the strangers around them, completely indifferent to the background characters and extras. Story 9. A job, car, compassion, reciprocity, work ethic, initiative, problem-solving skills, can read for understanding, great money management, can clean up after himself and does, and is easygoing. Overall, isn't a jerk. Story 10. Manners. Please and thank you go a long way for me, especially when dealing with members of the public. Just showing genuine courtesy and compassion for everyone is important. Unless they are being rude, then forget them. Story 11. I said, good teeth, a good job, a car, and not live with his mother. Lots of men in my area stay with their mothers for too long. My husband checked all the boxes except the teeth. My mom said, don't worry, teeth can be fixed. He had a bicycle accident when he was a kid, and his mom never fixed his teeth. We've been married for 10 years. Story 12. Model looks, amazing personality, rich, unselfish, great attitude. Because attitude cannot be learned, you have it or you don't. Drives a Ferrari or equivalent. Can't believe I'm almost 60 and she still hasn't found me. Story 13. The ability to think with nuance is an increasingly rare attribute and a powerful tool of resistance in a society that encourages either-or thinking. To add to that, strong literacy and reading comprehension skills are another attribute that is increasingly rare. There is a lot more, of course, but limited nuance and literacy are two common problems that people don't often consider. Often, but not always, these two skills will increase a person's emotional intelligence. Just my experience. Story 14. Well, I am currently sitting eating lunch at the counter in a really nice Italian restaurant. I thought the guy next to me was really attractive until his food and drink arrived and he slurped everything. Sip of water? Slurp. Bite of burrata? Slurp. Nibble of bread? Slurp. So in the current moment, a future partner must have decent table manners. Story 15. Honesty. Don't lie. Every woman in my life, wife, sisters, biological mother, aside from my stepmother, has lied to me or used me. Happy to do things for you, just don't get me to do them under false pretenses. Story 16. Maturity. The ability to prioritize actions based on desired outcomes. Stability, consistency in profession and finances. Intelligence. I am not interested in someone whose main conversation is about other people. Humor. Shared values. Communication. I am not there to teach them how to communicate. Chemistry. There has to be at least a little spark between us. What I like about dating now in my 40s post-divorce is how quickly I am able to see if someone has those things. Story 17. Decent financial sense. Loyalty. I don't want to see a wandering eye. And if you flirt with everyone, then it's a no. Good self-control. Someone committed who doesn't give up immediately. Story 18. Honest, hardworking, clean, loves cats, loves cooking, loves music, no hard drugs, and lets me do my own thing to decompress without being too materialistic or needy. I'm not too needy in terms of appearance, but they can't be obese. Story 19. Personal space, or more accurately, a life of their own. Friends, hobbies, a job, a personality, opinions. Not just a blank, devoted page to fill in the blanks and be obsessed with you. It weirds me out how many involuntarily celibate individuals demand this in a significant other, yet have no idea how tiresome it can get after the first 15 minutes. Story 20. Self-sufficient, basic hygiene, can cook, and all the things an adult human has to deal with. Nice, empathetic, and caring. Compatible life goals and values, for example, wants kids, has an active lifestyle, similar sense of humor, no history of cheating or heavy drinking. Story 21. More than active, I would say that she must not bully other people, hate animals, try to downplay my problems, or be racist and similar. Bonus for girl gamers, but not a must. Story 22. Empathy. It felt like my ex had zero empathy towards other people. Oh, my best friend died last week, and I've asked you not to laugh at me because I'm constantly messing something up. Yet you keep laughing and then wonder why we were never the same after. Story 23. I'm not single. I'm married, but I am so glad to see this question because I believe that no matter how high your standards are, those standards matter. Don't lower them. Now, you have to know the difference. I need a man to act like this and look like this, or whatever your non-negotiables are, and between it would be nice for a man to have these certain traits and looks, but it won't affect my decision if he doesn't. Story 24. Hobbies, interests, passions, and friends of their own. Secure attachment style. In therapy if they need it and doing the work to become their best self. Story 25. Personality-wise. Kind, smart, sweet, gentle, cultured, and non-judgmental. Physically, any decent-looking girl with blue eyes and long enough hair is enough for me. I know bold standards for a fat, dumb, ugly bastard like me, but hey, a boy can dream, can't he? Story 26. I just want someone I accept and do not want to change in any way. That being said, there are about 20 things I would like in a person. I am aiming for the most alpha person I can have, and I would rather stay single than be with someone I am not fully interested in. The person needs to be equally invested in me. I have been single for 6 years. Story 27. Emotional maturity and intelligence. No drug or alcohol use. Accountability. Supportive even in the worst of situations, and a very good cook. A great sense of humor. 2. Story 28. Willingness to make time for me. I don't need to see her every week, but it's pretty easy to tell if someone is simply uninterested in making time for me. Story 29. They would have to be legitimately, genuinely 100% okay and also somehow, impossibly, probably happy with me just being an objectively mediocre spouse who wouldn't always feel like hanging out, engaging in your interests, helping much, probably, or having lofty goals. This is why I actively reject anyone who asks me out and do not seek it. Story 30. Good hygiene, no alcohol, no drugs except cannabis or mushrooms, capable of taking care of themselves, like not needing me to do their laundry or clean their house, emotional availability. Story 31. Hygiene, and I'm willing to tell someone what they need to do to meet this standard since many men just seem to not inherently know. Humor, or I will be bored within a week. Emotional intelligence, because what is the point of having an emotional bond with someone if they don't know how to maintain it? Also willing to teach here a little too. But if there isn't a lot of willingness to learn, I'm out. Hobbies or interests of their own because I want to be with an entire person, not someone trying to fill a void. And the material standards, a house can be rented or roommates are okay. A car doesn't need to be new or fancy. And a steady, reliable job. I really don't think I ask for a lot. Story 32. A willingness to tough it out for conversations that hurt now so we heal later. Withholding to protect is sabotage born of fear masquerading as empathy. Story 33. Aside from the obvious opening stuff, communication is a must. If I ever hear a potential partner say a word about being avoidant, I am blocking immediately. I have been there and it was unbelievably frustrating and hurtful. I do not need to talk for hours every day, but I expect a response to a yes or no question or a good morning text back when I send one. Talk to me like an adult or leave me alone. Story 34. Consistency. That doesn't mean they can't change moods and have good days and bad days, but these should be variations of the same person or personality, and they should hold themselves to the same standard that they set for other people. Story 35. I'm not single anymore, but when I was, my primary requirement for a potential partner was someone who did not impede my goals or my life in general. I'm in my 30s and running behind on my personal life goals, which are heavily focused on education. I've already allowed other people and things to create long, scenic route detours. I also grew up knowing my dad did some things to prevent my mom from pursuing college, like not coming home on time to take care of me and my siblings, who were all under the age of 5 so she could attend night classes. They only had one car for the longest time, so she was stuck. About a year before I met the person who would later become my current partner, I had gotten out of a relationship where the guy complained about the fact that I was working full-time and going to pastry school full-time. He criticized everything I did in private but praised how awesome I was in public. I told my current partner my plans and what I was working on, and that he could join me for the ride if he wanted, but I was going to pursue these things regardless of his answer. He liked the sound of that and followed me along for the ride. He supported me, especially when I got a much higher grade than him in a course he failed, and now we're working on our goals together. If at any point he begins to impede me or I impede him, we'll likely consider separating. Story 36. Healthy diet and lifestyle. This rules out about 2/3 of people online and in person. But that's what I have, and I want someone who lives like I do because we'll get along better. And I won't fall back into an unhealthy lifestyle if my partner is on the same page. Story 37. You have to take care of yourself. Basic hygiene, work out, eat right, groom yourself, and dress like you care about how you present yourself. I don't care if you are not a supermodel. A 5 who takes care of themselves, in my eyes, is infinitely more beautiful than a 10 who lets themselves go. I got called fatphobic before because I wouldn't date someone extremely overweight. I have nothing against those people, and I'm not saying I wouldn't date you if you were thin. But if I work out and eat right to be, feel, and look healthy, if I'm going to share my life with someone, I want someone with those same values. Story 38. The funny thing is, as a man, you strive for a woman who is normal but not boring or extremely over the top. As long as she takes care of her things like appearances and finances, plus at least has a few common interests. I notice the same requirements from women a lot. You know, society and dating in general are flawed when people just want the basics. I think many of us have experienced healthy and positive relationships as well as negative ones. We strive to find the former and avoid the latter like a plague. Story 39. I want them to understand that I have borderline personality disorder and accept it. I want to be treated kindly, and I need them to be understanding. I'm not saying this to justify any behavior I have, but I need them to understand me. I'm in therapy now, and I'm doing everything possible to go into remission, but I need someone who supports me. I don't have time, and I'm not even able to deal with fake promises and foolish games. Story 40. At this point, I need things in common. Not necessarily hobbies, music, or movies, but we have to have some similar mindsets about things. I will not date another person I have to quarrel with constantly because they are always doing or saying something that goes completely against how I operate. Story 41. I have 18 of them. Here is a sample of a couple. To be desired to the fullest degree. To be able to share an intimate gaze into each other's eyes and see that neither of us could be any happier than with each other in that moment. Responsibility. Knowing that the person can handle the responsibilities of life. They always show a sense of doing what has to be done. Sexual and emotional desire. The desire to be loved and express love through intimacy. Not just sex but touching, holding one another, and feeling loved. Complete personal confidence in self. No lying or being afraid of your own truth. Story 42. Make each other laugh. Same love languages. Organically, like doing things together and apart. Mutual respect. Argue well. Different people, mirrored values.